Today's video is sponsored by our good friends at Famous Faces and Funnies, located in Melbourne, Florida. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, our friends at Docking Bay 94, located in Boca Raton, Florida. Check us out on comicsandgames.com. Wow, I cannot wait to share this issue with all of you. The action definitely gets turned up. The action sequences are electric. We are going to see a shitload of cobras getting hosed down. I mean, the killings in this one issue will make anything that we saw in the Marvel run look like a drop in the bucket. Robert Atkins delivers. Larry Hama delivers. There's none of that wussy politically correct BS going on here. And this is only issue number 2 in this 10-issue story arc. As we look at cover A, it's an homage to issue number 54 of the Marvel run, and I think it's really well done. I kind of am digging that fact. As always, we look at the cover variants. Now, cover B is part of that panoramic layout, paying tribute to the original 13 Joes. And look at the cover for RE. I love this one. It's a tribute to the Sears Missile Command Center. Again, covering the variants of all of these is wonderful. And I'm going to pull out the toys that or action figures that should be making an appearance in this issue as well. Try to mix in a little bit of modern and vintage. So here we go with the issue. We left off coming to realize Cobra has set up surveillance outside of Ft.Wadsworth, the OG pit. We discover the female lead is a Crimson Guard named Laura 343. So wow, that's new. There are female CGs, and instead of Fred, they are known as Laura. That's pretty damn interesting. Now, you know you're a crazy G.I. Joe fan when you see Laura and you're suddenly attracted to her in her CG uniform. Now, give Cobra credit here. This must have been several months in, and right in front of G.I. Joe nonetheless. So Laura goes into the room next door and alerts all the Cobra troops, officers that are in next door that, hey, it's showtime. And just as she's rallying everybody in, she peers out the window and notices that little annoying paper girl that's, happened to be coming by. It seems like she's always going up and down the street, and she's like a neighborhood snitch. When we pan outside, we see the scale of this. Cobra is actually occupying 4 homes outside of Ft.Wadsworth. Anybody hear the Patriot Act? The paper girl's name is Julie, and give her credit for always being suspicious and pointing out all of the crazy activity going on in these houses. She notices a Rapco tanker and how they aren't the usual ones. Now at this point, 37 years in, anything with a big Rapco sign should be a red flag, but they give some lame that excuse that Yo Joe lost the contract, and the front guards allow them to come in. And once they come in, there's another checkpoint, and we see Clutch looking over the paperwork. Clutch is suspicious immediately because there's no contract. It's a direct deal from the supplier, so he has to see the paperwork. And you see the driver actually fidgets there for a second, and he actually takes his gun off of safety. Instantly, Clutch hears this click noise and knows that, all right, something's up. And he turns around and pops this guy right in the head. So this is the first of many killings that are going to happen, and it is on. At this point, Alley Vipers and Night Vipers begin their assault onto Ft.Wadsworth. And the first line is, we have Grunt, Stalker, and Rock and Roll taking on Cobra personnel outside at the checkpoint. Essentially, it's just the 3 of them outside because the chaplain's assistants are non-combatants. So they got, despite being the elite of the elite, they got a deck stacked against them. And you see that they're holding their own, and the Night Vipers get a jump on Grunt, but Stalker is there, and he hoses down a shitload of Alley Vipers until he gets a boot in the face and gets knocked down. Rock and Roll sees this, and he brings out the thunder, and he's just hosing down cobras like there's no business. And he's like, you think, all right, this they might be able to succeed, and they have a chance here. But just when that happens, reinforcements come for Cobra in the form of frag vipers, toxo vipers, and techno vipers, and we see heat vipers in there as well. So it's like, oh shit, you know, it's just they're just coming in waves now. What's interesting is when they knock down one of each of these three Joes, they first do an identity check and they're like, all right, this is not the Joe that we're after. So even though they have an opportunity to kill him, they don't. They just move on to their objective. They're like, all right, this is not the Joe that we're looking for. Let's keep going. And, you know, they subdue Rock and Roll, Stalker, and Grunt, and they move inside, and then they begin their descent down into the pit. And all of this, they kind of like had an idea through all of those months of planning. They know that this elevator takes them down to the actual pit. So they load up the platform and they begin their descent down. Meanwhile, outside the base, we see Julie pounding Laura's door and be like, open up, I know you're in there. And just as she does that, the garage door opens up and we see all of these his tanks come out of the driveway. Imagine that sight of his tanks coming out of a garage door, going down the street. She tells her dad to call in the SWAT team. What good is that? So they blast through the front gate and they proceed to plow right back in. And their reinforcements coming in because, you know, those other guys are already descending down. So they're just kind of like holding down the fort on the top of the surface level and securing the perimeter. Laura is in charge of this operation, and I think that's kind of cool to see non-Baroness, non-Crimson Twins, non-Destro, I mean, non-Zartan even. It's just cool to see, you know, a female CG be the lead of this operation. And, you know, she notices the carnage on the surface level. Down below, it is on. We have the Cobras coming down, and we see Sean, Scarlet, Helix, Don Marino, even Budo, Jinx are all there. And you would think that, all right, there's no chance in hell because this is the best of the best. This is a quarter of the Arashikage clan fighting. But remember, there's just like 5 or 6 of them, and there's a boatload of Cobras. And it just seems like no matter how many they're offing, they're just keep coming. They keep coming because that's their strategy, is just to overwhelm the Joes with personnel. A few issues back, I gave credit to Nito Diaz's action sequence. And, you know, Atkins, he is shining right here. The action sequences, the intensity of this battle clearly comes across. Ooh, we see that Ray just stab a dude right in the chest. That's pretty cool. And even little Milo's in on the action. He's the new Arashikage in training. And we see a Heat Viper letting out a flamethrower, and it's just boom. I mean, it is. I've seen a lot of, you guys know, and you guys have read many battles in G.I. Joe, and this one is up there. It is pretty damn intense. There's a lot of gunfire, and you get to see every unique Viper utilize their specialty at the same time. And I think that's pretty damn cool. A tear gas or some type of gas is sent out, and you see, you know, they don't have any breathers or respirators, so they have them, one group all kind of cornered here, another one's out with the concussion from the blast, and it's like, you know, we see that the table is turning in this battle. Where G.I. Joe had the advantage, Cobra is starting to, you know, wear the Joes out. Because it's just a matter of time when they're completely overwhelmed. And they're taking like minor injuries. Budo gets hit. I think Helix got hit. Now, while all this is going on, the Joes come to realize that they're after Sean. But Cobra thinks that this is Snake Eyes, the original Snake Eyes. So they're going through their checks and like, all right, this is not the one we're looking for. And they're all targeting Snake Eyes or Sean. Gosh, this is going to be tough. But this is a nice scene. We see Dawn and Sean going back to back and just slaying Cobras left and right. And Dawn gets hit. I'm sorry, I said Helix, but I meant Dawn gets hit in the shoulder with the bullet. And, she sustains injuries. But again, Sean is just worthy of that Snake Eyes title. The Last Brother shows why he should be carrying the mantle of Snake Eyes. But despite all of what he's doing, he also succumbs to the gases. And you see Cobra sees that. And like hyenas with the wounded animal, they pounce on him and subdue him. Once Sean is subdued, they call upstairs to send down a hiss tank. So Laura accompanies this round as they begin their extraction of Sean to Cobra headquarters. The next few panels are excellently written, and as Laura begins her descent, she looks at the carnage and this plan got shot to shit and everybody is dead. She's looking at all the carnage. She hears one Cobra trooper saying we won, and she's like, you call this a victory? And quotes the Duke of Wellington in the sense that next to the battle lost, the greatest misery is a battle won. That's pretty deep, and that is true, because nobody wins in war. As they wrap up down there, heavy cargo copters are beginning their ascent onto Ft.Wadsworth. They first go underneath the Brooklyn Bridge, and they're coming in to extract Cobra personnel, equipment, and of course Sean. So this is a well-coordinated plan, and there were like 4 steps in this plan. So again, the guys upstairs secured the perimeter in anticipation for these copters coming in. You have to actually marvel at how Cobra executed this plan. And again, they're also dealing with half of their personnel is lost. So they're doing this last stage with what half of they had going into this mess ordeal. And they secure everything and they quickly get the hell out of Ft.Wadsworth and lift off. Once on board, Laura makes her report to Cobra Command. And she's reporting to none other than Cobra Commander and Dr. Mindbender and lets them know that Snake Eyes is signed, sealed, and going to be delivered. And we see Cobra Commander's anticipation for hooking Sean up to the brainwave scanner. So what plan does he have with Sean? That remains to be seen. And what about the Joes back on the base? How are they going to regroup and come and rescue Sean? This issue was excellent and such a joy to read. And for me, I was just immersed in the action from the start. And we, like the other issues before, we had a nice build up, nice lead into this, and excellently done by Larry Hama. It shows that he is still on his game. And I'm telling you, 268 is just as good. So I'm looking forward, and we're only in issue number 2 of this 10-issue storyline. So I'm fired up. I'm excited. This is why G.I. Joe still has it. And I'm so glad you guys are with me on this journey together. So this is Shabu Argue, signing off.